All right, everyone, welcome back. I am reviewing Apocalypse, and my initial testing was going to be that I was going to go live and I was going to expect Apocalypse to be a character filled with debuffs and filled with the same iframes that he had with higher damage. But of course, I didn't see that. I saw an Apocalypse that was performing way worse to a large extent. Granted, when I was trying to make the character work, I did discover things that I could somewhat work with. Like he still has debuff mastery. His debuff mastery rotation is freaking impossible. His third skill has a very limited amount of debuffs. His fifth skill has all debuffs, but it has 0 iframes, so you have no protection from skills. His second skill could be cancelled, but it also doesn't have much debuffs. And his first skill is a partial iframe with maybe some debuffs. He lost all of his debuffs on that fourth skill. That fourth skill that's supposed to one-shot and supposed to debuff trap. At the very least, it does none of those things. Apocalypse leaves a lot to be desired, and he gets killed with residual damage, as you can see right there. And then I have to figure out his proc rotation, because in PvE he's proc friendly, but in PvP he's not. He's really frustrating, and I'm going to call out Netmarble for this, because Netmarble is encouraging negative gameplay. This uniform is negative. I'm talking about both Apocalypse and Logan. This Logan uniform is toxic. This Logan uniform requires a brilliant conquest. Why? Well, because it has no iframes. The X-Death uniform has 4 iframes. That uniform has like 1.5. So they're doing this thing where they're removing iframes, but at least they give a substantial amount of damage extra to the new uniform, right? But with Apocalypse, you can't even say that. You can't even say that he got a damage increase. You can't even tell. First of all, they're under debuff removal so much of the time. So you can't even tell if Apocalypse is doing his max amount of damage or not, because his fourth skill relies on a debuff mind control. That mind control debuff is absolutely not what you think it is. When you think mind control, you're thinking that it does a debuff like stun or like snare or like silence even, right? But it doesn't do that. It does what panic does. But panic also is a debuff. It's a debuff in itself. Apparently, mind control is not. So I can't debuff and trap anybody with mind control. So initially, his fourth skill from his old uniform had stun and snare. This uniform, this new one, has those debuffs completely removed flat out. You're basically making the character worse. You're making him only suitable for Brilliant Conquest, removing his iframes, and his damage is good enough in PvE. And when I say good enough, I say that lightly because he's still not meta. You need a consistent landing of the proc, and you need debuffs to trap the opponent and to trigger debuff removal. There's times with Apocalypse fourth skill, I can't even trigger debuff removal, so he ends up becoming a liability. Now here I know the debuff mastery rotation, but he's still going to die regardless and only kill half a meta, when his old uniform could kill an entire meta, and his old uniform had a lot of skills going for him. Use and ignore iframe from distance. He could debuff from distance. He could put himself in iframes constantly and protect himself. This uniform offers none of that, and thus he really can't be used in TBA. He also can't be used in TBA because he conflicts with the super guard break of like Madeline Pryor, and just to be a Logan counter is not good enough because it makes the team weak. Like, people look at an Energy, APOC, and Adam team in TBA and they think it's like the easiest team in the world, right? I can't really have that. I can't just have Apocalypse be just a Logan counter. There's 100 Logan counters. And even then, he can't even interrupt Logan. So he still needs Adam or Juggernaut to interrupt. So far, his performance in TBA has been really, really poor. Like, I'm going to showcase him beating a Logan with Adam, which is okay. I'll go up against Apocalypse teams, and I'll totally whoop them solo. Like, this is an Apocalypse and Madeline Pryor and Emma Frost team, and I beat him with just Ghost Rider. That's it. Just Ghost Rider by himself. I had a Jean Grey base uniform and Nova. He's also a liability, a total liability in top 100. I don't know anybody who would even dare to use him there. I'm also showcasing other team battle tactics that you guys could work with that has worked for me in top 20 all season. And I've done it without Gore, and this season has been pretty brutal. So here you could see there that normally I could interrupt Sentry and maybe even kill Sentry in a couple of hits, but Apocalypse conflicts with Pryor, so they don't really work together. And then I'm showcasing here Apocalypse old uniform in the setup that I had previously in Timeline, but like Apocalypse has nothing. He has no support or nothing. And all I want him to do is kill a double support Gore, which is unheard of. Like, go and tell any player and say, hey, go kill a top 5 account Gore with double support with an Apocalypse with nothing. Just energy. And guess what? I got the job done smoothly and efficiently. And it took me a few tries. But with the new uniform, forget it. It takes me so many tries that it's like almost impossible. And even then, like, I don't even expect to win the match. You know, I have to tactically maneuver the team to win the match. But this is just me trying to get basic kills on the meta. Before, I was doing it with not much issue. I love the old uniform. The old uniform is great. This uniform is just frustrating, and it's negative, and I have to do everything differently, and he doesn't survive, and he doesn't do enough damage. I have all of these problems when I didn't really have them with the old uniform. I just accepted what the old uniform was, a character with very, very good niche potential, and that was that. Here, it's just a character with a little bit less potential in terms of value, with extra steps and a higher cost. And like, I guess the aesthetics are pleasing, but look how many times it takes for me to do and get kills. Like, it wasn't that hard with the old uniform, but with this one, it's almost impossible. I had to do like 5 rotations. Here, you know, of course, the game is not going to let Apocalypse live. So, you know, they're making the AI harder as well. So it's really, really frustrating that the game continues to promote negative gameplay. And it's unfortunate because this is the only game mode where he's good. Now, I wasn't even discussing Commander's review. Commander's review was basically Apocalypse with Brilliant Conquest, which that's like the best you're going to get. And it's the best analysis you're going to get with Brilliant Conquest. And it doesn't save the character. So this review is more of like just a totally different perspective to how to go about using Apocalypse. So here he was debuffed, but he still performed the duties that were needed of him to get a follow-up kill with some damage, because they increase damage with buffs in Otherworld Battle by like a huge percentage, like 250. So mutant debuff tombs can be used this season. And he wasn't doing bad when he was debuffed, but I'm like at the lower end of challengers, so of course the results may vary, but I still wasn't blown away with him. Like, I wasn't like, oh my god, Apocalypse is meta for this mode. Not at all. Testing him further and further in this mode had me realize that he needs the remove purification buff that you can get from the Otherworld Battle store, and he probably needs to be in a farther corner because he's still susceptible to getting one shot even with Brilliant Conquest or Energy, which is what I'm using. And he also needs somebody to debuff trap the opponent as well, and it's arguably better for them that they have the remove purification. So if anything, if Apocalypse being second place or first place, or him being last place where it usually works for him, isn't working for you with this new uniform, you can maybe put him in the third spot in a far corner and he can get some follow-up kills. Now, I wanted to briefly go over PvE because I feel that this is the only use that's valid that you're going to get out of Apocalypse, but at the same time, he's not worth it in PvE either. It's just he's more on the hybrid side, being better in PvE with this uniform because he does do extensive damage. He can cancel a lot of skills. He can cancel 2, he can cancel 3, he can cancel 5, and he can land on 4. He can also cancel the tier 3, and people also want to land on it too because it has a proc. So you can do either or, and Apocalypse is proc friendly because this whole video, he's just had Mighty Energy the whole time. And I could still get kills in PvP with Mighty Energy, but his PvE performance surprised me because usually my scores in PvE are on the average to like low end average side. So with World Boss, I was okay with. I think it's just flat out better than the old uniform, but the old uniform is great for PvP, so I have to keep switching between the two, which is very annoying. But in Alliance Battle Extreme, I did see some value in it because my old Apocalypse can usually get something around like 12 mil at most, maybe 11 mil with the energy. So that's with a deficient CTP at Mighty, and it has to be under a proc, so the gameplay is more sporadic and it's a little bit less efficient than something like Rage. But here, I showcased the rotation. It's better if you do 3 cancel 5 cancel 4 instead of 5 cancel 3 cancel 4 because I think it does more damage. And of course you have to pick the correct striker, like I picked Null. And my score was pretty impressive. I got 15 million with the Mighty Energy. I think that's not bad given that I have a rank of like 890 Apocalypse. And it's with a proc CTP that I have to time. So I was fairly impressed with the score, but people were not. People were not impressed in PvE, despite his scores being like 3 to 4 million higher compared to the old uniform. That team battle arena match, I was just showcasing that Madeline Pryor Apocalypse team is not really that crazy against my meta. I think I had one team kill my team, but that was about it. And then these are the tests in Otherworld Battle with my new uniform compared to the old uniform of Apocalypse, and I beat him, but that was just because my team was better. And in this section of Otherworld Battle is where Apocalypse is not debuffed. So here you can see a more clear picture of what he can do. So I'm gonna watch this with you guys because I don't even remember all of these segments that I do. Yeah, I mean, he took down a Thanos and a Weapon Hex, but he just dies straight after. Just a little bit disappointing. It's just hit and miss. We're tired of seeing characters that are just hit and miss all the time. I think the point of this video is that we just have to continue to call out negative, bad updates and call it aggressively, because for me, I've just noticed that this is a trend. They've made a lot of amazing, complete characters that have potential. Like, they'll give them potential, but they'll have very clear weaknesses that are hard to get around, but they make the character unique. They give him value. What they do now is that they create like a negative gameplay where they just add a second to a skill and make a flashy ignore iframe and remove everything else. Don't remove everything else. This game and its new tunes that we pay a lot of crystals for, this game is not supposed to be an exchange of stats. This is supposed to be you're getting an upgrade to a tune, and the tune is supposed to be better. The tune is not supposed to be worse. So I can be flashy if I want. I could still use Apocalypse like this and hate him and still use him if I want. Like, for example, you're going to get content creators that don't want to review the character fully because they already know he's garbage. And on top of that, you're giving him the best CTP in the game and he's still garbage. Netmarble needs to stop making mid characters to help promote better characters in the future. Or before you just continue to make more characters mid. Because now Gene and possibly Sandman or another character is rumored to be coming out mid-month. And they could maybe do the same thing. They could, make Gene, have a crazy ignore iframe and remove her debuffs. I don't know what they're going to do now. Maybe they'll make Gene so OP that she'll surpass everybody on the list right now. I have no idea. And I want characters to be better when they arrive because they're an investment. Like, look at that. Apocalypse didn't even debuff. He couldn't debuff with 3 and he couldn't debuff with 4. So it's just so frustrating, and we'll have to rely on Netmarble to fix it. Like, I can't really save the character. All I can do is give a warning label on this video saying, if you have the old uniform for Apocalypse, do not invest in this. This is a bad investment. Here's my last remaining timeline battle tests. Let me know what you think. If you like the video, subscribe. Leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts about how Apocalypse was for you. And then also at the end of this video, I have a little discussion with a special content creator that you could take a look at that briefly discusses the negative stigma around the new updates and a brief discussion on the new Apocalypse uniform. So hope you guys enjoyed. The next video is going to be a tier list of tunes with CTPs for PvP, and then it will probably be a review for the next characters. So take care, and I'll see you guys in the next one.